Okay, here's what I got so far. So I'm starting to think that maybe these didn't come apart, but I'm gonna leave those on there just because I know the issue. I took this pipe off and I saw a little bit of oil up here, just kind of spotted. And I'm thinking maybe one of those clamps, something happened. It was maybe like kind of wasn't gripping enough or something like that, wasn't positioned right. And we got a little bit of oil come up out of here because German cars blow by, all that goodness. So I'm thinking that's where my boost leak was, coming up out of here. So I tightened down the clamps, T-bolt clamp here, T-bolt clamp here, tighten these down a little bit more. And we're gonna take her for a test drive. Oh, I gotta get a new map sensor because when the charge pipe kept blowing off, it cracked this, but all the points are still connected, so we're good. But that thing's not going anywhere. Throw the intake back on and see what happens. Just for anyone that was looking at my intake and decides to have some kind of weird comment. So this is a stock air box. Has these fins that direct air, and I let a little bit of air come up from below. These engines are known for being hot, having a lot of hot air coming into staying in the engine bay. So I dremeled this out, that was solid. And then they only had this section to flow air into the intake. So I dremeled that out, got some nice fresh air you can see down into the intake box there. And then that will direct air up into the filter, which sits right here. And it will also suck in some cold air here. And then I cut the top part of the stock air box in half just to get that more fresh air, have it circulate better, but keep the heat from this direction from the motor side. It shields the filter from some of that hotter air, you know, rather than go out and spend hundreds of dollars on an intake that I can just make myself. Maybe it's not pretty, but I don't care. It works. As you can see here, intake piping I had just laying around. Yes, I know it needs repainted. Just sits in there like that, and then that other half of the airbox just pops on, and we get some heat deflection. So, yeah, as you can see, this is the stock top of the airbox. I just had to cut that out there. And it fits over like, you know. And we can put our breather for the crankcase on. And the system is happy. Alright, got the engine put back together, the whole induction system. Whenever the charge pipe, I didn't see any leaks in the seams. There were no gaps. There's like a little like foam-ish type of sealant in there. No noticeable holes. So I'm thinking that boot was the cause of it. Maybe that clamp wasn't positioned right and it might have like slipped down a little bit, allowed a little bit of blow by to come up out of that connector. So we're gonna go ahead and take her for a test drive and see if we have any better results under, I'd say probably half throttle is when it would start to happen. So really when it got into boost, because anything under that, it just ran fine. So yeah, we'll see. So again, we're gonna do the same thing and see if we get any better results. Mind the squeaky brakes. so that didn't do anything. It could only be there's some kind of pinholes or that pipe is expanding. So I'm going to have to replace it with a metal one, which was the goal anyway. You just have to find one. That map sensor, how it plugs in there, we have to find one that has a bung made for it. I can't just throw a piece of pipe on it. Would make it a lot easier. Could probably make it, but I'm worried about like any kind of holes between the map sensor and the piping, creating a leak, or shredding the O-ring for the map sensor, because it just kind of pops in. It's not bolted in right now, although it has the holes to bolt in. So yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, the car is drivable, just can't get into heavy boosts, which sucks, because when you have a tune, you want to play around. I don't really get on it too much anyway, because it has a stock clutch, and these cars also are known when you tune them for the stock clutch is grenading. I've seen it too many times. So we'll get the pipe figured out, we'll get a new clutch in it, all the fun toys. But I just figured I'd do a video. I don't do these often, so people could enjoy.